Hello everyone and welcome to this Cricket Captain Tips and Tricks video where today we're going to be breaking down how the coaching and physio section of the game in all its different departments from batting, fielding, from different coaching sessions, physio sessions, and how the field sessions work, where should you put your training, and how it all kind of puts your team together as you move towards a sort of dream team goal, if you want, across your Cricket Captain save files. This can be used for any sort of Cricket Captain game, as long as no drastic changes are made in the future. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. The first thing I normally do when I see the screen, for 90% of my saves at the moment, it is very, very basic. Because you get 8 coaching sessions by default, you get 2 fielding sessions, and you get 2 or 1 physio session. It doesn't really matter the physio session too much, but varies from 1 to 2. And obviously, as you go on with a career mode save file, you actually get more and more coaching sessions because you'll probably better use the money that you do have and therefore are able to put more and more money as you go along into getting more coaching sessions, more physio sessions, and therefore actually making a better domestic team as you go forwards. I must make a note here. Only some of this is applicable to international cricket because you don't actually get any more coaching sessions throughout your international cricket career modes. So therefore, you're only going to really need the first kind of part of this video if you're playing an international save. But if you're playing a domestic save, definitely all this information will be relevant. Firstly, with the 8 coaching sessions that you get by default, I normally go very basic. I go 4 in the batters and 4 in the bowlers. So as you can see here, for example, I've just picked Bravo, Mohammed, Hines, and Nisanka to get the extra batting practice. I've gone Charles, Phillip, Seals, and Royal to get the extra bowling practice. Now, already I've actually made one muck up here immediately, which brings me to a really important point for the coaching and physio section here. You see Darren Bravo's form at the end here. It says 5 stars out of 5 stars, or give or take, maybe 4.9 out of 5. He therefore does not need this batting session because if he gets this batting session, all it does is add to his match form. Now, his match form's at 94%, so therefore, he really does not need any more coaching at all, because basically, the coaching effect is you'll get to increase your form with some sort of coaching effect. As you see, for example, Kamil Puran has 28% match form, but if I give him the coaching session, it will increase his match form, but it will also show how much of that match form is actually done through the coaching effect with the percentage below it, which is currently at 0%. So essentially, straight extra batting practice, extra bowling practice just gives you more match form, which pretty much, I guess, allows you to increase the chance that your players are actually going to do well using form in the game, in their actual on-field performance. So normally, if I was going super basic, no detail at all, you're an international team, or you're just starting your domestic career mode, you would go 4 batters, 4 bowlers, and 2 keepers here, for example. I've got Josh De Silva and Nicholas Puran, both doing just catching practice. I've got them doing fielding technique, catching and keeping, because I think that's, you don't want drop catches. Drop catches will cost you the game. I guess misfields for 4 are also costly, but not as costly as a drop catch. A drop catch could cost you any number of runs, as opposed to a misfield can only cost you 3 runs on one occasion, right? You also get 2 physio sessions by default, and I normally give them to the players that either have the lowest fitness bar on the right-hand side, or that are my most important players in the team. I normally also like to split them between my batting and my bowling. I don't want to have 2 bowlers have physio because that means my batters become more at risk at needing physio the next round. So I'm just go 1 batter, 1 bowler, just keep it super simple. And therefore, if I need to, I can just give a bowler a rest after 1 game and his fitness bar will go up by not playing, or just wait in the next round and then give him the physio instead after this bowler recovers. So for example, McCoy and Lewis are quite low. I'm just going to let McCoy play, and then the next round, he'll get Lewis's physio session when I swap it over. And his fitness bar will go up, and, stay away from the far left-hand side of that fitness bar, because the further left you go, the more likely you are to get injured. So you're essentially trying to give your extra batting practice and extra bowling practice to players out of form who are playing in your 11, and you think they're underperforming, they should be doing better than they are, and so therefore you're pushing their match form up by giving them a coaching effect, which will hopefully actually translate into on-field performances, therefore swapping out their coaching for someone else who is now maybe Bravo loses his form throughout the season, so you swap it over to Bravo and give him standing practice instead. With my fielding practice, I normally like to give it to my keepers. As you can see here, I've got 2 keepers in the squad. That makes it pretty simple for me. But if I only had 1 keeper, I could give it to another player, for example, like Muhammad or Bravo, whoever fields in the slips or just fields anywhere. It's never a bad thing to get extra fielding practice and therefore get better at catching. However, I have heard a rumor once upon a time, and I still don't know if it's true or not, but I've stuck by it, is if you give your informed players catching and keeping, it puts them at more risk of actually breaking a finger and getting a finger fracture injury and therefore being out for an extended period of time. So just be careful, because apparently that may or may not be a thing. I can't confirm entirely, but I believe from past experience, I've seen it before, where if you give a player fielding practice, they are more likely to get a finger injury. So if you are going to give any of your batters catching and keeping for the fielding technique, definitely give it to someone who's kind of out of form, who you can afford to lose, and don't risk some of your better players, because it is better to be safe than sorry, as the saying goes. So that's what I would do. But let me know if you've had that experience down in the comments below or not, because I'd love to hear your thoughts, because I'm not entirely sure if that's true or not. Now is the good part. Let's delve into what you can really do with your players. You can go and do all sorts of batting techniques and bowling techniques. Ever since Cricket Captain 2021-ish, I can't remember the exact game now, you've been able to change your batting specialism, or batting position, if you will. I could be wrong on that. It might be 2022. Nonetheless, you can now change any of your players and their batting orders by making them a first-class opener, a one-day opener, a first-class middle-order player, a one-day middle-order player, making them more defensive, more aggressive, being an ODI accumulator, and being a boundary hitter by improving their boundary hitting as they go along. I only suggest doing this after you've got more than 8 coaching sessions, or unless a lot of your players are doing well and you really don't need to improve your form. Otherwise, just sticking to the normal coaching sessions of extra batting, extra bowling. If your bowling is failing more often than your batting, or vice versa, then stick more players on extra bowling practice if your batting's actually doing really well. And of course, as vice versa, as I've just mentioned, if your batting's doing really badly, maybe prop it up by giving more players extra batting practice, just to try and even out your team's performance a bit. Otherwise, if you do have extra training sessions to really utilize, definitely look at going down your kind of list of players and going, maybe I've got too many openers in this team, for example. I've got 4 first-class openers here. Maybe Simmons is never going to be an opener. Maybe he always bats 3, 4. He never ends up being the opener for my team. He's not a backup. We want to play him in the 11. Therefore, I need to make the key decision of, do I actually put him in the first-class middle order and actually make him more of a middle order player, therefore pushing that specialism on him? Is he too defensive or aggressive in one-day cricket? You can really look at those sorts of things. You can also obviously go to the player profile and kind of see how the players are looking. For example, here, Simmons is very defensive. Maybe I want to be a bit more attacking with him. Or if someone's very attacking and you want to be a bit more defensive, then that also works vice versa. All of these options would be great. The one key thing to realize is that these all take time. If you give someone coaching, it does not necessarily mean they're going to instantly get it. You could get it within 20 or 30 days. You'd be pretty lucky to. Otherwise, sometimes it could take up to upwards of 100+ days of doing this coaching in a row to actually have the coaching go through. It's quite a slow process at times. That's why I've heard that it's more reliable to just stick with the batting practice and bowling practice, and only using the technical coaching if you're doing a domestic team. If you're an international side, I don't recommend doing any batting or bowling technique. It just costs you too much time, and you don't get a fast enough result when you really just need players to perform out and out on a game-to-game basis and not really worry about developing them. Leave that to the domestic teams. Just go full force on extra batting, extra bowling in the international stage. Otherwise, you've got other techniques to do. So you could do general technique for batting, offside, leg side, spin bowling, fast bowling, front foot, or back foot technique. I guess if you looked at the perfect players in the world, you'd actually have no preferences whatsoever. So I guess that's something that could be done in the game. I've never personally tried it because I've never had a career mode long enough. But in theory, that's something that you could actually look to do. So if this player, for example, Patrick Page, has a slight spin bowling preference, maybe I want to make him have no preference at all and therefore good against fast bowling. I guess the important thing to realize, though, is it doesn't really matter, these preferences, that much. Because as I've read before and have seen before in the game, just because someone has a strong pace bowling preference doesn't necessarily mean oh, let's bowl spin against him, he's really bad against spin, because that's not really how it works. It just means that they would rather face pace bowling than spin bowling. Therefore, yes, I suppose they're more liable to spin bowling, but I don't necessarily think that's actually the case in on-field performances. But I would say that if you have an opener and he struggles against pace and he's mostly facing pace bowlers, then absolutely that would be something to go along and be like, look, you've got to improve against fast bowling. In fact, there you go. Simmons has actually improved against fast bowling to their limit. It's actually telling me straight out, no, you can't do that. He can only improve against spin. He's already the best he possibly can be against fast bowling. Or, other way around, Simmons is really good against fast bowling here. If he's batting 3, 4, 5, 6, he's facing spin bowling, then he really should try and improve that to make sure that he's able to cover against those spinners and not be liable to keep getting out to spin over and over again when he's really been trained as a opener to face fast bowling if he's not facing that in the actual games. Otherwise, you could look at some bowling techniques. You've got general technique again. I don't really know what the general techniques actually do per se, but I guess it just makes you a better bowler overall. You've got defensive bowling, aggressive bowling, defensive one-day bowling, and aggressive one-day bowling. I guess thinking about defensive bowling, what would you really use that for? I suppose if you're a spinner, that would really work, right? Because if you're a better defensive spinner, you're less likely to concede runs, especially in the first-class format. And obviously, as a fast bowler, you want to be aggressive, so I think that would be something that fast bowlers would really benefit from. And if you kind of concede too many runs in the one-day format, being a defensive one-day bowler might be the way to go. And if you don't take enough wickets, and you want to take more wickets with that bowler, being more aggressive with your one-day bowling would definitely be of use. But I hope you found some value in today's video, everyone. Please like and subscribe to the channel if you want more content such as this as we head towards the build-up for Cricket Captain 2024 coming out very soon. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below if I've missed anything at all, your experiences with coaching and physio in the past, and if you have any tips for me or other users, definitely leave them down in the comments section. If you need help with any other Cricket Captain tips or tricks, leave them as well down in the comments below. I'd love to keep making more videos like this. Thank you to all the members who help support this channel. It is greatly appreciated. And until another video like this, everyone, take care.